Hello, 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 and welcome everybody to the Coach's Corner, where we help you get to your next level. So,
Yes.
hey, Coach Hot
Hi,
Gloves.
Coach. Oh. I ain't heard that one since
Right,
you and
Coach Hot
Aiden tried
Gloves.
to.
Because we
Hi,
look,
Coach.
you might come out swinging today. How you doing, Coach?
You might come out swinging today. Don't try to drag me in this, you, Coach.
Right.
Do not try to. Don't try to drag me in this. I'm not. I have no parts of this. So disclaimer, everyone. I don't have no parts of this. If she come out swinging, I'ma just listen.
You said you still in your listening season.
I'm still in my listening season, and that's just where I'm gonna stay for I don't know for how long until God releases me to start talking.
I know that's right.
Oh,
Look,
Lord have mercy.
I've been there, and I'm really at that point where I kind of want to stay there, but he like, nah, it's time for you to talk, and I'm like, really,
100%, 100%.
I
Well,
don't.
Coach, so today we have an awesome topic regarding poverty in America, how
Yeah,
we handle that, how we cope with it. Do we even know that we could be a statistic, a victim of poverty in America? We asked the question in the description of this topic, um, how how do you even know if you're there? What do you hear when you hear the word poverty? And like you and I have spoken about, we think about third world countries, we think about Africa and the homelessness and all this, but really it could be at our front door and we're so oblivious and don't even know it until it happens, until we are poverty stricken or in the poverty line. That's what kind of the government kind of phrases it, the poverty line, the poverty stricken group. And so we don't want it to be too late when we had opportunity to correct, when we had opportunity to become aware. And this is Poverty in America Awareness Month. I don't know if a lot of people know that for January, although January has a lot of awarenesses, but one of them are poverty in America. So
yes,
this is what this segment of the Coach's Corner is about. Now, this may be a very, you know, controversial subject. It may kind of frustrate, agitate some people, and it also is going to be very thought provoking. So we never come or intend to offend, but we do want you to think. We do want to make sure that change happens. We come here to make sure that you get to your next level, and so do we, right, Coach?
yes, yes.
So that's what we're getting into today. And I think it's a real conversation that a lot of Americans avoid. And it's just time in 22 to have those real conversations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm tagging and telling a friend, Coach, I'm over here tagging. Hey, Ebony, how you doing? I'm over here tagging,
I
tagging and
know,
telling.
right? And
Hey,
yeah, that's
sister,
what
I hear you, girl.
you hear. I know, right? You hear sister back here. So
I
yeah,
do.
sister, you want to say hey to everybody?
She's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't put me on the spot
Right now,
now. Don't.
right now that we put on blast, she's sitting here just smiling, like.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, this it's like you said, Coach. The reason the reason why, and I know this is just what happened to me. I'm not gonna say it's for everybody, but I do know that television is a very very powerful tool,
Right.
and it is used to. That's why they call it, television programs or programming,
Absolutely.
because that is exactly what it's doing. It is programming the mind of the
Right.
masses all at one
Right.
time,
Right.
depending on what station or what it is that you tune into, right? They're like, tune into da 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 da. Tune into this channel. So if you
Right.
tune into this specific channel with this specific, specific program, then this is where your vibration is, your frequency is. It is in the same frequency of that particular channel, that
Right.
to in order for you to be programmed, and then boom, there you have it, right? So when certain things come up in life or whatever, we don't even realize that we're kind of acting subconsciously, because that's what
Mm-hmm.
programs do. They program the subconscious mind. So then now you're in a situation or whatever, and then you're subconsciously just like reacting to whatever the situation is because of the programming. So,
Absolutely.
you know, hey, I ain't telling nobody what to do. Don't watch this. Don't do that. Look, I don't live your life, right? You
Right.
don't live mine. And so it's like, but you just want to be mindful, of what, we need to be mindful of what we listen to, what we, take into our, we call them, our eye gates, our ear gates, and things like that, because
Right.
hey, programming, right? So, so with this, the reason why I say all of that is because with television, um, you think of poverty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that would come up in my mind, because you got television programming and then the commercials that's in between, you hear poverty. What pops up is like the starving children in Africa. They got flies flying
Right.
around with big bellies, and they, really skin and bones and stuff like that. And what was her name? Sally something. She was the daughter on All in the Family. Remember that?
No, coach.
You don't remember all that. Now look, I ain't that
Now
old.
look, let me tell you, my mama was a soap opera fan, but I I think I remember Bold and the Beautiful or something like that, but barely. Or I don't know. Don't make me lie, because I'll probably mix them all up together. But no.
Right. Okay. So I forget her last name, but it's Sally something. But anyway, she was the daughter of Archie and Edith Bunker on All in the Family. And so she was the one, the spokesperson that did these, the poverty in Africa type of,
Mm.
things, where it's like, for 35 cents a day, you can feed a starving child in Africa.
Right.
That type of thing. Then the poor music playing in the background. So that's what pops up in my head when I think of poverty. I mean, even today, that's how powerful programming, television programming, and commercials and everything is. To where you think of poverty, I'm on a whole nother continent somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
not it. Look, a continent that has about 52 to 54 countries in them, and they are not poor, right?
Right.
They're not poor. It's
Ebony
not
said
poverty.
Sally Ann Struthers.
Struthers. There you go. Come on with it, Ebony. Yes, right. Sally Ann Struthers. That is her name. And so that's what still comes up in my head, you know.
Right.
But we're not over there. That's not our home, right? We are
Right.
here. We're here in America, and on this country, on the the northern uh con- I was going to say continent, but we're in
I got you.
North America, right? Because you got South America, you got North America. Excuse me. So North America, this is where we are, and there is poverty here.
Right. Right.
But the reason why they call America or North America the richest country or whatever, because because of the opportunities here, right?
Right. Right.
Because of capitalism, right? We have a
Mm-hmm.
capitalistic system, and in that capitalistic system, it just really means that this is a place where you can come and set up business and sell things,
Right.
right?
Right.
A lot of people don't like sales, but in America, if you are into sales and you can sell a product or a service, you could do very well.
Right.
That's why the people come from, a system of communism or socialism or whatever, and come here, because
Mm-hmm.
I could take, look, what's this? Bubble wrap.
Right.
Bubble
Right.
wrap, right? I can sell bubble wrap. It's just some plastic with little bubbles in it
Right.
in order to keep, glass or whatever from, but I can sell it, and I can sell a bunch of these, okay,
Absolutely.
and make a
Every
whole
day, every
lot
time you get a
every
package,
day,
it's some bubble
right?
wrap.
And make a whole lot of money, and to do that, and then for people like me who might have anxiety or whatever, and it just make me calm to do this here, you know.
Right.
Hey, some people buy bubble wrap just to do that, but you can
Facts.
sell it, right? And so this is that place where you can do that. And so that's why they say that this is the richest, place, because you can sell and you don't have to worry about, oh, you can only make this amount of money, or you have to, depend on the government. That's socialism. Depend on the government in order to get this thing or that thing, and all of these things, right? So,
Right.
so in a place like this where you can do that, why is there poverty in
Right.
America, right?
Right.
Why do we have the poor or poverty in
Right.
America? Now, in the scriptures, it does say you will always have the poor among you, but it's how you treat your poor.
Right.
Because poor, like in the scriptures, it say, blessed are the poor, so they shall see the kingdom. Well, why is that? Because you can improve upon poor.
Absolutely.
You can improve upon it. I can take something of poor quality and then, upgrade it through whatever systems or whatever and make it better quality. I
Right.
can take a, poor quality picture or something like that. I mean, think about the iPhones,
Mm-hmm.
or, whatever. It's like every day some type of new phone, new update or whatever, because we're improving upon that product or service where it was at a
Absolutely.
inferior quality and we bring it up to another quality. So that's what we're supposed to do with our poor, right? Help them to improve upon the quality of their living.
Right.
But we have poverty, and
Mm-hmm.
poverty and poor, they're two different things.
Absolutely.
So poverty in America, this is something that we researched when we were doing this topic for men and women. So the the median income for women in America is $25,307 annually.
Wow.
That's poverty.
Wow.
That's poverty. If you do the math and you divide that by 12, you see how much that is per month, and then you break that down per week, it's less than $500 a week.
Right. Right.
And but it's around $2,000 a month. Now, in order for you to get a decent place to live where it's safe, you gonna well, I don't know about you and I don't know where you live, but I know here where I live in the state of Illinois, right? And where you got the city of Chicago and the Chicagoland area, the surrounding suburbs and things like that. In order for you to have somewhere where it's at least decent,
Mm-hmm.
you're anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000 a month.
Same here in Atlanta, and I'm talking about that's a 650 square foot apartment. It's $1,500 for a 1 bedroom. So,
For what? Exactly.
and that's in a decent,
Exactly.
matter of fact, since the pandemic, it's not that decent. It's not that safe, but the price remains the same due to the inflated rates and the way the government has allowed landlords and property management companies to inflate the rent amount
Yes.
just so people can pay. And then the thing about the poverty conversation is that you're not getting any more on your income or your salary, but your expenses as far as your livelihood has increased. And
Yes.
then this is where and how we get to the level of poverty, being poverty stricken, being broke. And if we don't understand how we can arrive there, then therein lies the problem. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
Coach? Because these things are going to continue to increase. The economics is going to continue to go up. Like, we can't sit here and ignore the fact that property value is going to increase. The market value on homes are going to increase. Right now for Atlanta, 2 years ago, prior to the pandemic, you could probably get a very nice 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath in the city of Atlanta, which is, the higher luxury in property market. Let's say 150,000 to 200,000. Today, that same 3-bed, 2.5 bath in that area is almost $400,000. And people's salary has not increased to match what's been asked of them. So now what happens? And so, Coach, I'm just so glad you brought in those numbers and those statistics, because our minds don't even sit down to really comprehend what's going on around us in America. Like, what's really happening? And like you said, we definitely researched this before we brought it to our audience. And, some people don't even understand the difference between being poor or what poverty is. Poverty is so much worse than being poor. Like, it ain't even funny. I would rather be poor than be poverty stricken. I would rather be poor than be the person who has experienced poverty. And then you're probably looking at me going, Coach, it's the same thing. It's not. One is a little bit more aggressive than the other. Like, I guarantee you. And so when we put it into perspective and bring it to our level, how did we get here? You know what I'm saying? Why are we here? Why are we experiencing that? Now, yes, if we wanted to, we can blame economics, government, inflation. We could literally blame the pandemic, all these things as an excuse. But at the end of the day, it comes back to you knowing what you have coming in, what you have going out. It's you sitting down with your family, having that hard conversation that we never want to have about your finances. It's you sitting down, stop avoiding what's going on around you, stop ignoring, stop evading, stop borrowing money that you don't have, knowing you're making a commitment that you cannot pay back. These are the times where you have to sit down and really plan that out, map it out, talk about it. And so tonight, since it's Poverty in America Awareness Month, Coach Hadassah and myself, it's just bringing it to you straight, and not to go so in depth to where it begins to overwhelm anybody, but it's really time to start having those conversations. Because you may think that it's just Africa, and like you mentioned, the Sally lady doing the commercials, donate 35 cents a day to help, poor Johnny over in Somalia. That's great too. But you may not need to send 35 cents to them. You may need to keep 35 cents in your own pocket to help you. You might want to donate to yourself. Right. And I hate to be that blunt, but when you sit down and really look at what's happening in your finances, you might be a little bit closer to poverty than you think. Because the topic is poverty in America awareness. They ain't say poverty in Africa. They ain't say poverty in India. No, they're talking about right here in the US of A. And that's all of us. Well, most of us, those who are not international on our broadcast. But this could be you, me, Coach, all of us. And if we're not serious about having a conversation and correcting, self-improving, family improvement, generational improvement, I'm just telling y'all, we will be the one who's poverty stricken. And I just don't want to be that, Coach. Like, I really don't want to be considered as a person who did not become aware. You know what I'm saying? I want to be alert. I want to be aware of what's going on around me so that I can eliminate and prevent what's going on,
And it's like
Ebony said, it's definitely like that here in California as well. Yeah. I can only imagine.
Right. Okay. Woo. I mean, look, I'm like, as much as I would love like the Cali weather and all of that kind of stuff, baby, I am not bringing this family size to Cali.
I'm talking about
that's it.
You got to be a celebrity. Like Ebony, y'all West Coast, I clap it off.
Right. you know, it's like, and I have to put this up here because Ebony says she ordered her new budget and financial planner from Amazon yesterday. So
Oh,
look,
love
yes,
it.
kudos to you, Ebony, because that's where this is it. This is that health and wealth season. You know, this is
Yes.
that season when everybody is getting their bodies tight and they money right. And
Mm-hmm.
hey, do both, right? Like I'm doing it. I'm definitely,
Absolutely.
doing both. I'll do me some sit-ups, push-ups, or something, but
All of
definitely
that.
money. Okay, money to credit, like all of that. We have to
Yes.
stay doing that. And so, but I also want to bring up because I talked about the the median income for women in America being
Right.
about, like I said, a little bit over 25,000 a year. And so the median
Mm-mm-mm.
income for men is it's about 38,000. It's a bit over 38,000 a year. Still,
Wow.
you know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So it's like for a woman 25,000, a bit over 25,000, and for a male a bit over 38,000. um Look, you got to be single and
Mm-hmm.
probably stay in a studio apartment somewhere that's probably not safe to live in order for you to kind of be like okay
Right.
with that, and then not really having too many outside things that you're doing outside of getting up every day and going to work and coming home.
Absolutely. Yes,
That
I
seems
agree.
like that's probably about all you can do, unless you have some other things that you're doing. But now I will say this. So if you put those two incomes together, right, you
Mm-hmm.
would have over 63,000. Now, 63,000 puts you in, that's with two people, in a
Right.
better position to, that's a springboard, right? It's just a little platform or a springboard for you to go, to the next step or another level. But I will say this, and look, I'm not sitting up here trying to get people booed up or say get married or anything like that. But
Right.
I am,
Right.
you know, I don't look because I ain't trying to get. It's like
Right.
not pair up just because you're trying to get some money to get like, ooh, well, if
Right. Don't do
I'm
that.
making 25 and he making 38, then maybe we need to go ahead and get married. Nah, because you need more. You need way more than that. You
You
need
need
you need
more than
more than the income,
63,000.
right? Just like that, just like you say, love. People say love is not enough. The income alone is not enough either.
Period.
You need both of those along with some wisdom and commitment and faith and like a whole lot of things to
Right.
make that together,
Right.
right? So um but I will say this, when you look at the overall system here in America, it encourages two things. It encourages entrepreneurship or business ownership,
Right.
and it also encourages marriage.
Right.
It does the two. Why do I say that? Because this tax system gives you more benefits of being a business owner and a married couple.
Right.
The reason why I say that is because when you look at, like, if you file your taxes and you do married filing jointly, um, you get more tax benefits.
Right.
If you're a business owner, you get more tax benefits.
Yes.
So it encourages both.
Right.
It does. But like I said, I ain't trying to get folks running to the altar because you need more. There's a
Right.
lot more than that, right? But
Absolutely.
that's what this system encourages. And so, you kind of think about it like, yes, if you combine those incomes, all right, it makes it, 63, over a little bit over 63,000 or whatever. It gives you a better
Mm-hmm.
springboard to work with, because now, you can qualify for, a home, and because that income is there.
Right.
Because with that income, you need about, what they do is take 30% of your income and you see what that is per year, and then you divide that by 12, and then this is what they say, this amount you're able to afford this much.
Right. Right.
So it that's how you would have to look for your home, and yeah, stuff like that. So I just want to kind of put that out there. But yeah, 25,000, 38,000. In order for you to, again, with this tax, the income and all of that, these tax brackets, with the lower tax bracket, I will say this, because that is poverty, right? Those numbers are poverty. And so there are resources out there, and we're going to get into that as far as the how to, like, because how can you upon that or whatever. But there are resources out there that can assist you if you're in that range, or below a certain amount that they say, oh, this is poverty level. Right. Because that 38,000, again, that's poverty. And I know I've been at these places where I've had to get some help with this or that and the other, and they have a sheet, and it says, according to the size of the house, the household size, okay, this amount, if it's one person, then your income has to be below this amount. If it's two people, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, 7, or more than that or whatever, then the income has to be below this amount in order for you to be able to qualify to receive these particular services, to get help with this or that or the other. Now, the thing is, if you're at the 50,000 or 60,000 or something like that, you're in the middle, that middle income tax bracket, you don't qualify for any help or assistance, but it's also not enough for you to do a whole lot of things. So we always say, or like I was mentored, a wealthy person mentored me and was like, you need to be, as far as your income, at $500,000 a year or more. And I'm like, how the hell am I gonna do that? Where is that? Like, I was like, I ain't gonna be able to do enough heads.
I'm gonna be on the street. Let me just go ahead and be like, y'all got a spot under the bridge.
Right. I'm like,
this is real challenging.
Right. I mean, at that time, I was just like, whoa, that's a lot. But what I know now, I'm like, oh shoot, that's, I run the numbers. It's like, okay, well, this is what I have to do per day, so forth and so on. And there's a way or avenue in order to do it. But at that time, when I had that mindset of I have to work so many hours to even do that, that's where I was like, what in the heck would I be able to do? Right. Or sell, or whatever, to where I can do $500,000 a year.
Absolutely. And that's a major question too, Coach, because if that's what experts and the wealthy is saying, for you to make 500 grand to avoid poverty, for you to really have sustainability, like the average person, I just put like the average American, right? We're not even thinking in those great of numbers. This is why we get so shocked and we get so overwhelmed, again, just to have the conversation, because and the status or the point where we are, we're not even thinking $500,000. We're thinking 50,000. We're thinking, okay, if I can get a promotion that's going to
make 6 figures, and 6 figures could be $100,000 a year. And I don't know how many people who I know, family members included, that makes 100,000, 120,000, 180,000 or whatever. And it's like, I make 6 figures, but then they're in this whole new world because it's a different tax bracket, and you owe. You owe. Like, and you owe, right? And you have the debt because you got the house, you got the mortgage, you got the car note. Yeah, you got all
then if you got children, the average child is $300,000 a kid per kid.
If you don't have children, the thing is, it's like, you want children because you can at least deduct that on your taxes. But if you
Right.
don't have to, that's why you have those people that's out there like, hey, can I claim your? No, you can't.
I
You
can
know,
claim all my. Matter of
I need
fact,
all my
my kids
coins
are now contractors under my home business.
about business, and that's why, look, as a home-based business owner, and look, we're not trying to push a home-based business on you and anything like that, but I'm just saying, as a home-based business owner, what that allows you to do is take deductions of things that you already do every single day, as long as you have the intent to do your business, sell your product or service. Those
Mm-hmm.
things, they really help. You wear glasses, contacts, just all of these different things, medical
Right.
expenses that you have, mileage, all of these things that people don't even realize that they can, that those are, um, I have this thing where I post, these tax deductions that many people overlook. They're
Right.
common, and many people overlook them because when you go to your regular, place where you're filing taxes and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
they have a job too, and so they're just doing this easy, 10,
Routine tax
and it's just like,
prepare.
let me run this through. Okay, boom, this is what you get, or boom, this is what you owe, or boom, you broke even. All right, get out of here, because they got a job. They
Right.
want to go
Right.
home just like you want to go home. But you know what I'm saying? But I won't say tax professional, your tax specialist, right? Your tax expert. They're going to go over things with you and ask you certain questions. And
Mm-hmm.
because they know about these things that you can, deduct or take for the that current tax year, because and again, we're still on poverty in America, but we're also getting into, things or ways that you can, save and stuff, like save money on certain things that you would expend it on, in order for you to save money, so you can
Mm-hmm.
have money in order to put to work for you.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. That's and because these are the ways to where you can come out of poverty and or avoid it. The
Right.
scriptures say
Absolutely.
that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of our times and the strength of our salvation. So it's knowing these things that can help you. If you have that knowledge, then you can apply it, right,
Right.
in order to, start that financial change for
Right.
you, right? That's
Absolutely.
really what it's all about. So what we got, coach? What we got next, coach?
I mean, we really you did phenomenal. Just taking it there, getting us really to the how to. What I did want to just highlight again something else that you said, because again, a lot of people don't really understand what poverty is. So when you was talking about exchange of goods and services, to bring in income, to have enough to have, expense anything. That's exactly the what poverty. Well, I'll say it like this. That's exactly how you prevent poverty. You gotta have something in exchange to barter, to contribute goods and services. And the exact definition of it, coach, I just want to give it and put it into people's hearing is it's destitution. Poverty is a want or need of or insufficiency of money or goods. And that's exactly what you was explaining. So if you're not reserving, if you're not saving, if you don't have the credit, if you don't have the cash flow, then we need to learn how to get to the point to have those things to avoid, eliminate, prevent being poverty stricken or to experience poverty. And so you just kind of took us straight to the how to's. And I just want to go jumping right into that. So one of the things you did say was your taxes. We are in tax time right now. The first of the year, we all know, especially here in America, right? Because we're still talking about poverty in America, is that January to April, and if you get an extension, we can say to October. This is heavy, heavy tax time. Tax time. Everybody's trying to gather all their documentation. Everybody's trying to claim whatever they can claim to get the biggest return you can get. So that could be the first step. And like Coach had given us some how-tos, because as you guys can see, this is definitely her lane when it gets to this financial planning to avoid you from being poverty stricken, or to avoid you from being poor. And people don't even want to admit to be poor. You broke. We don't want you to be broke. I mean, at the end of the day, you struggling. And Coach used the classic cliche, robbing Peter to pay Paul. You got to sit down and admit that there's a problem within the situation. There's a problem within your system. And so now in the how-to, the first thing that Coach did mention, and I'll let her take over again, was, be honest about your situation. You know that you are at that line. You're at that poverty line, right? You're there to where now it's a challenge, it's a struggle, it's a hardship, however politely you want to put it, meaning you about broke, right? And change has to happen. But how does this change happen? You got to be honest with yourself, admit that there is a problem and that change needs to come in my financial situation, right, Coach? And then your next was, do you want to elaborate on that a little bit, Coach? It's about being honest about the situation.
And this is what I want to say to to that point of the because we're getting into we're in the how to, right? Because we talked about the problem. We can't leave you just with the problem. We have to provide the solution. What are some steps that you could take? So as Coach was just saying about sitting down and just admitting, right? Admitting that I don't have enough. This is not enough.
Right. There's an insufficiency. Right.
There's an insufficiency. And the thing about it is, and especially from people, faith-based. Okay. I'm a faith-based person, spiritual, faith-based, all of that. And we don't ever want to seem like we're, ungrateful for where we are and what we have and things like that. But there are times when you have to look and say, I know I need more, right? Not only I want more, I need more.
Yes.
Okay. Because we continue to grow, right? Yes. We grow, and then okay, like I'm pretty much not gonna like grow in height and all that kind of stuff anymore. But then I do age. Now, if I was saying wearing the same kind of clothes or types of clothes or whatever that I wore when I was 20, and I'm almost 50, something's wrong. Right. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like my style change or whatever. I'm no longer wearing little short skirts and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I want something at knee level, a little bit below the knee or at the calf at least, or something that, look nice or whatever. But I'm no longer dressing like I'm in my 20s when I'm almost 50, right?
Absolutely.
I do not want to be mistaken for a teenager or a 20-year-old.
Right. Absolutely.
I just don't. I don't, right? So those are those things, like when you say growth. And so with that growth, we do have to just stop and be like, you know what? This is not enough, right? Like I need more. Now, how do you figure? How do you know if you need more or whatever? Think about this. If you work a job to where they could shut down, or they call you at home, or possibly you go in and then they tell you we no longer need your services, and you're sitting there stuck and you don't know what to do, because it's like, how am I going to pay my bills or whatever it is that you're doing right now? Then guess what? Poverty.
Yes.
Poverty.
Because it's dependent on something that you cannot or no longer rely on.
Right. Because if your income and how you provide for yourself is tied to another place that you have no control over whatsoever, you are a paycheck away from poverty.
Absolutely. We'll send you right into your
and admit that I need more. Because if these people call me and say it's over, what I'm gonna do? So that's number one, to admit. So what was
which was a good segue into number two, and these are all Coach's points on how to, because again, coach is successful, sustained with a family and businesses. So this is not her opinions. This is something that she is living currently. So number two, coach, is to sit down with your finances, but mainly your income versus your outcome. And you have to include everything. You was talking about how when you're talking about your outcome, your expenses or your expenditures, like little things, entertainment that you're doing, your groceries, your gas, your utilities, your rent and mortgage, and prioritizing these things. But when you sit down with your finances or sit down to really try to gain control or management of your finances, this is me everything, like from everything that you have coming in from all streams, whether you got one stream, which is just your employer, or you got some other type of income coming in, or if you work two jobs, or no, whatever it is, versus your expenses, versus what you have going out. You can go ahead, coach.
Yes. So, like Coach said, sitting down with your expenses so that you know what you're working with. This gives you the true picture of your finances. It gives you the true picture. It's like, okay, this is how much I make, right? Whatever it is on my job and I sell some cakes and or
Right.
whatever it is that you do. What is it that you have coming in? Put that number down, like write
Right.
it down on paper. And then you have to go to your expenses. And I mean everything. I don't care if you buy a pack of gum when you go to the gas station and fill up on gas every single time. You need to write that down. The
Right.
gum with the gas and all of that. But every single thing that you spend on entertainment, look, if you hey, because we look, I'm in the cannabis industry too, right? So if you smoke weed and you buy the swishers or
All that,
whatever
right?
it is, beer, wine, like whatever it is, your entertainment expenses. If you could look, I like to go out to eat. I'm
Right.
telling you. And that ain't stopping. I'm gonna tell you that right now either. That is not stopping. And you got to be honest with that too, because a lot of times, we hear, and I used to hear it all the time too. You need to stop with the Starbucks and this, and the other. Look, if you like Starbucks and you drink Starbucks coffee, then that's just what you do. That's one of those things. Because
Right.
if we're working and doing whatever it is that we do want to have something to treat ourselves or whatever. There's nothing
Right.
wrong with it at all. But you do need to write it down, and not that you have to cut it out completely, but like say if me and my husband went to if we went out to eat 2-3 times a week, well, maybe we don't need to do it 2-3 times a week, maybe just
Right.
once a week. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Just still do it, but cut back. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So,
Moderation.
yeah, everything in moderation, especially if you have if you have a bigger goal.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
if this is if this right here, these expenditures or whatever are cutting into it, then you kind of need to streamline it so that you can have, you can look at your finances and be like, okay, well, all right, I'm spending too much on this. And sometimes, like I was saying to Coach, you may need to get a better quality of service,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
You're looking at some things and you may be paying out the wazoo for something. And it may not necessarily be that you cut that out, but you
Mm-hmm.
may need to change providers
Right.
so that
Right.
it's like I want to get, if I'm paying $500 for this, I may be able to spend that same $500 but get better quality. You may be
Absolutely.
able to get more for your $500.
Yes.
Do that, right? Do that. So write those everything, write it all down. Your income, your
Mm-hmm.
expenses, then go ahead and make that deduction so that you can see either you have a bit of a surplus or it may be in a negative. And then you have to ask yourself, well, if it's in a negative, where's this extra money coming from that I'm even spending this on?
Right. It's time
right?
to eliminate. You
It's
got to
time
let
to
some
do
things go.
right. It's time to do something, because what you want to be able to do is, we're doing all of that to give you a realistic picture, because some people are walking around and not realistic about their income. I mean, not income, but
Absolutely.
not realistic about their finances,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
It's like, oh, I made, and I'm serious. What would I'm gonna use R. Kelly for instance, right? It was I don't know if it was like a financial statement of his that was floating around, or whatever, but it was basically like, he made, just let's just say he made $1 million. Okay, he made $1 million, but was spending 2 million. He $1 million
Right.
in the hole.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So just because you make more money doesn't necessarily mean that you're in a good financial situation.
Right.
Because I can look, I could be making 38,000 and the next person be making 1 million. But
Mm-hmm.
then I'm only spending 25 of the 38,000, and the person
Absolutely.
that's making 1 million is spending 3
Spinning.
million.
Right.
I got more money than they do.
Facts.
You
100%
see,
facts.
you see what I'm saying? And
Yes.
so
Yes.
you have to sit down with that financial picture, because
Mm-hmm.
I done had it happen. Folks looking at me like, how in the heck she making this much, and
But to
I'm making all
produce more than them. Yeah.
this, but she got more stuff going on, because I sit down with my finances and really look at the picture.
Absolutely. You got to
You
have
know,
that picture and a realistic picture. Ebony said that. She said, get a realistic picture of what's going on. And that's so key, which brings us to number 3 on the how to is doing things differently. Like after you sit down with your finances and you get that clear picture of like that real picture, like, oh my goodness, just like your example with, if you're in the negative or you're in the red and you're not in the black, then something has to go or something else extra has to come in to balance those things out. But now at this point, you have to do things differently. We already know what's about to come next. If you are insane, if you continue to do the same thing and you expect a different result, you have to change. You got to be the one to sit down with yourself or your family and say, hey, we got to switch something up. Something either has got to come in or we got to stop something going out. And your big things, your rent, your mortgage, your utility bills, your grocery, your gas, you can't get rid of that stuff. So what if it is the luxury things that's, the entertainment or the coffee or whatever, and you can't really do it in moderation because you're already in the negative, then you're going to have to make a true sacrifice if you're serious about your finances and improving them to cut something out. And it can only be temporarily because you will see that once you stop doing certain things with your money and you're beginning to save and you begin to have that reserve, then you can grow your net worth. You can grow your accounts. You can grow your finances to be in the positive, to be in the black. So, Coach, that's the next thing, doing things differently. What would you speak on about that?
right? With doing things differently, and I'm gonna add this too, because it's just nature, and it's the way that our bodies even work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because truthfully, we're wired for abundance. We're
Absolutely.
not wired for scarcity. We're really not. That's the reason why, we probably like have a little bit, but then we're doing all of this
Right.
abundant stuff, because we're
Living,
really
look,
wired
living
for,
way beyond your means.
yeah, right. We could be, because we're really wired for abundance. So, with doing things differently, I want to add this to where we kind of talked about this a little bit before. You might, okay, you might go out to eat 3-5 times a week, or whatever, but you need to cut back on that. Do
Right.
not starve yourself of it, though, because
Right.
that's what ends up happening. What ends up happening is when it's just like, okay, I mean, now don't get me wrong, if it's killing you, it's killing your finances,
Right.
then you do have to stop, you
Right.
know. Um, but I'm thinking about it in terms of some things you need to just stop cold turkey. Other things you kind of, scale back or wean,
Right.
right? And that's something that I want to, definitely put out there. You don't have to necessarily just kill off everything. Oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do that. Because then what ends up happening is you're not doing it for a while. And then next thing you know, you go overboard and you just messed
Absolutely.
up everything that you were doing. So just scale back, but do not put yourself in a position where you're um that's gonna make you revert.
Right.
Gonna make
Absolutely.
you revert back to where you starve yourself of these things, because everybody does need some type of form of outlet or entertainment or whatever, but not to the point to where you're killing the bigger picture.
Right. Absolutely
Yeah,
agree. I
yeah.
agree. And that's great, coach. So number four, did I put number three here? I don't even know. I gotta put number three in there. But number four is to practice good habits, and that's within your cash flow and your credit. Having multiple streams of income, maybe starting a home-based business or having some type of ownership, entrepreneurship, or you have to be the one to get more than one job. But then also improving on your credit, starting some type of savings account that you don't have the urge or need to go dipping into, because it's truly something to help you in the future for your financial stability. So, coach.
Mhm. So yeah, so after you sat down with your finances, right, and you've done all of that, you see where you can scale on some things. You see that you have some type of surplus. And the thing is, and maybe this should have been kind of at the be in one of the two, probably two, with sitting down with your finances, is this: pay yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that could be hard. I mean, not hard. I don't want to say it's hard. That could be challenging. That can be very challenging, because I still struggle with that. I still struggle with paying myself first. What do I mean by that? When you get the income that comes in,
Mm-hmm.
right? Before you pay anybody's bill or anything, you want to look, you want to take 10 to 30%. You might have to start off with 10, especially if you're in poverty, right?
Right.
So you may, but even in their poverty state, still 10% of, and don't do it monthly. Do it with everything that you have to come in, right? Like, if you if it's just a paycheck, then do it with your paychecks. You get paid every 2 weeks, you get paid every week, you get paid once a month, or however that is. You sell something, and you get payment for that. Off the top, take off 10%.
Yes.
Take that 10% out and put it aside. Now, you may have a savings account, you may have a lockbox somewhere, or whatever. And kind of these days, I say that it's probably better if you were to take that 10% and have it in cash and put it somewhere safe in your dwelling.
Right. Right.
And I say that because it makes it less accessible. It make it less accessible, because if you do have it like in a savings account or something like that, you know how you can easily, you could transfer,
Mm-hmm.
use your phone to transfer this, or whatever. Me, I do have a say. I got a few of them, to be honest. And but I make sure that they're not easily accessible.
Right.
One, I
Right.
gotta drive clear across Chicago to get to. I ain't been in that place in years. I just,
Right.
right. It's like, oh, it's over there. I ain't
I
even
don't need
trying to
it that bad.
right. Like, when I think about the drive, I'm like, I don't even know. I mean, that make me think. It don't even make me think a half or twice. I ain't going. And then there's another that, okay, it is accessible, but do I want to drive over there? Now I would, and I do drive over there, but it's not easily accessible for me to where I can take my phone and transfer it over to this and this is that and the other. And then that way, that makes it to where that 10% or 30% can
Right.
accumulate. And then now, once it does, now you can take that and then put it into some avenues to where it will grow, right?
Right.
Now, I'm an advocate. I am an advocate for forex trading. I'm gonna tell you right now, I am, because it is forex trading, stock options. I haven't gotten into the stock options yet. I'm gonna. I think maybe in about, I don't know, probably somewhere around October or something, I'm gonna really deep delve into learning stock options. But right
Right.
now, I trade forex, and I just want to really make sure that I'm consistent, stable with it, all that kind of stuff before I
Right.
start delving into something else. But the reason why I say that it's probably it's a skill set that you want to learn. You really, really do. The reason why you want to learn it, oh my gosh, because time, time, you don't get your time back. But forex can have you to where, I mean, you learn the skill set and you find a strategy and everything that works for you. You can make thousands of dollars in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, less than an
Right.
hour, right at home from your phone at the beginning of the day, sitting in your drawers in your bed.
Right. Right. Right.
Real. And you can do that daily, and then go about doing the rest of your day or whatever, work, whatever it is that you want to do, but at least
Mm-hmm.
you've done that. And it's I don't want to say it's passive, because it's not passive, but it is very, very less time consuming. And then
Right.
you even use some of that, half of that or whatever, to put into something else to where it grows. The wealthy, we buy assets.
Mm-hmm.
Assets, okay?
Assets. Yes.
You buy assets. I mean, you can think of and look up many different things, but most people look at assets. Real estate is definitely, you know
Absolutely.
one, land, things like that, but things that increase in value.
Value. Right.
And
Absolutely.
you don't necessarily have to put in all of this work in order for it to increase in value. It's just going to
Right.
increase in value on its own, so that.
Well, Coach, I mean, I think that's a great stopping point. Those are our four how tos. More so from Coach Hadassah. So this is the thing. Thank you, Ebony, so much, and all of you who were joining in with us tonight. So again, we just want to come on and give you some thought provoking conversations to have. If you're in the season where you're really trying to correct, improve, and be financially sustained for the rest of your years and the rest of the generations for you and your children, these are the conversations that you want to participate in. This is where you want to be, because ultimately we wouldn't want to see anybody, whether you're in America, you're overseas, to be in the poverty category, the poverty status. I mean, that's just not, like Coach said, we were groomed for abundance, so we shouldn't even be experiencing being poor or being in the poverty status. So I hope you guys take these tips that we gave you. I hope this was a good conversation and it really admonishes you to sit down with your family, with yourself, and let's get it right. And, of course, as always, if you need more help, we encourage you to reach out. Reach out to a financial advisor, reach out to a financial planner, reach out to someone who can help you during this tax season. You have Coach Hadassah, you have myself. We are certified, qualified with real credentials to support and help in these areas of finance all the time. So don't be afraid. Don't feel like you're going to be embarrassed or be judged. Do what you need to do to correct. That should be the main priority. So we will not have to revisit this conversation again. And you can really see some change happen. You can really see yourself begin to flourish. And like, I know everybody's not a big Donald Trump fan, but this is what I love. He said, if I make $1 million and lose it, I know how to make $1 million again. And we want to have that mentality to where now we're not in fear or frustrated or stressed about finances or money, because if we gain it and we lose it, we always know how to go back to basics and start again and gain it again. So, as always, this has been the Coach's Corner. Coach, did you want to end with anything tonight?
Nope, that is it. Oh, you know what? Look, one more thing, because it's right there to that point. Because I went into the whole assets with the 10% and all of that, but I just want to leave everybody with this: cash is king, but credit is queen, and you need both, right? You need both. So you definitely want to get your credit together, whether you have to, if you don't have any credit and you need to build it. If you do have credit, but you need to repair it or restore it, this is the time to get that done, get that together, because in the next 6 months or so, you can be at in a different place, higher credit score, and all of those good things, a decent 720. Right. Okay, 715, 720 will have folks rolling out the red carpet for you, right?
Absolutely.
If you need to purchase a home, a building, or something like that, like you can do those things with the what is it now, 620, 640, somewhere around there.
You can do a 640 for home buying with limitations. Right. I do want to say that. And you don't want to be limited. You want to be able to get what you want, to have the purchase option, to select what you want. You don't want to be limited on things like that when it comes to home and car and land. You want to be able to go in there with a clear conscience, and you do these things definitely, like Coach said, by rebuilding and establishing good credit practices and income coming into you.
Right. And that's something that with the community and with the community that we're in and the services that we provide too. Right. It's all right there. And that's something that, and I'm gonna end on that, but we're gonna do a part 2 to this, because then we're gonna get into some more, advanced things, to where, you're not just doing all of this for yourself.
Right. Right.
Whether you have children already that's here, born, breathing, looking at you, saying they hungry right now, or or those that are not here yet, but they're coming. They're around you in the spirit, just waiting until that time to where they come, through you. You're doing this for them. You see what I'm saying? Right. It's about leaving an inheritance to your children's children. And that inheritance is more than just material things. They have to be able to know how to keep it. So you're passing down knowledge and wisdom, and then you're passing those things down as well. But when you do pass that down, you want to have it protected. You want to have it protected. And so we're going to get into a part 2 where we're getting, into, because we're just talking about, giving those points of, hey, your credit score and all of that kind of stuff. But then part 2, we're going to get into where, all right, you did your personal credit. Okay, that's good. That's cute, right? So now you want to do that in order to roll into, business credit, business funding, setting up your LLC, your foundation, your trust, putting your assets in trust, so that it's protected and you can pass it down to your children's children, because now it is in the family trust, and that is where everything is and stays and continue to go from generation to generation. So I don't want to say I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that conversation.
So am I, and it's gonna be phenomenal. And Ebony says, "Yay, part 2." So, yes, Ebony, part 2 cannot. I'm gonna say I cannot wait, because I'm looking forward to it as well. So this has been the Coach's Corner with Coach Hadassah, myself, Coach Cotton, where we help you get to your next level every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will see you all next Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, sister.